Let's do this. Alright, happy reset day, guys. I am back. We are going to do another weekly vault video. This time I have 6 characters. For those who missed my last video, I actually started a 0 to Hero series on my warrior. We're going to leave this for later. I'm going to do my 5 tanks first, primarily. Then we'll do the warrior, and then that'll be like a little spoiler for the next episode. Well, maybe episode 3. I'm already in the works for episode 2, where I attempted some keys and clean up my renown and stuff. Spoilers, I guess. And then, of course, I'll talk about some weekly tips. This is the first reset that we've seen this patch that has us resetting to a week we've already seen. So it's going to be Explosive, Bolstering, Tyrannical. It's the first week in the rotation. Pretty good Tyrannical week, but there are some polls that are a little more sketchy with Bolstering active. So I'll talk about that in a bit. Once again, we are going to start with our DK. I think my DK only did 1 key last week. I did it on Tuesday. I logged in, did 1 key, logged off, haven't touched it. I know I got that weapon last week, but I just working on the warrior, and then I just went ham on the DH. My DH was having so much fun last week. Time to 23 mists. I had that video posted as well. There are a ton of people here. Holy shit. Dude, Vault's not open yet? I don't even know what time Vault's open yet. I'm assuming not, right? I'm the only one online. That's crazy. Never mind. Vaults don't open yet. Alright, so story time, I guess. So over the last, like, week or two, I've been pretty much staying up later and going to bed later, to the point where yesterday I was up until noon. So I woke up at like 2 in the afternoon. I stayed up till noon the next day. And then I took like a small like 2-hour nap. And then I kept working on my warrior. I was doing more work on the 0 to Hero challenge. And then I went to bed at like a normal time. So I'm actually up in the morning, which is weird. Yeah, that's not a great story, but it's a story. So upcoming this week, I'll probably do the 0 to Hero challenge episode 2, probably by Thursday. It just takes me so long to edit those videos. I have everything recorded. I did keys, so I'm just getting into keys now. Obviously, like in episode 1, it was just all kind of like set up with like keybinds and stuff. After that first video, I was kind of like thinking that the challenge, like I was looking through like a lot of other 0 to Hero challenges that a lot of like other gamers have done and content creators. And I guess like the big reason that I'm doing this challenge, which I don't think I mentioned in the video, is that it's an attempt to be informational to new players, because the realm of players who have groups and like are pushing with people all the time, and like I can literally add in Discord like, hey, I need X, Y, and Z for this key. That compared to someone who needs to like pug and who has limited time playing the game, there's this very large disconnect between those 2 player bases. And I'm over here, and I know that some of you are in this camp. So the point of the challenge is to, holy shit, it is a part. Is it always like this? I'm never on this early. The point of the series is to show my process, but it's also to try to get a perspective where I don't have my mains IO linked. I'm not using like B tag friends. I'm not using guild mates. I'm not using any of that. I'm just going through the pug community, and I'm trying to learn in that process. So that's the point of the challenge. I hope to get 3K. I don't know how hard it's actually going to be. I don't know what type of like, I don't want to use like the word discrimination, but discrimination that I'm going to have, 1 being a warrior, 2 not having a linked main. Like, I think just the fact that a lot of times when people are going for 20s, I'm assuming that, like, at least in my experience, because I've been declined from keys as a Guardian Druid, especially like earlier on when I was like 3K, 3100, I was getting declined just being a Guardian Druid, despite them being like keys that weren't going to be IO upgrades, just because I wasn't a Blood DK or a Brewmaster Monk or a Prop Paladin. So we're going to see. That'll be interesting. I'm not sure how long this goes on for. I think I would assume that the vaults are going to open at 11. server. So I guess we're just going to chill till then. So something that I am hoping for on this character is anything. Let's see. I'm still using this symbol of the Vombata. This trinket I get made fun of all the time by my group. That I'm like running this like silly green trinket. But I guess I have to. So we'll clean up our bags a little bit. I know people are probably gonna shun me for just like vendoring this stuff instead of like disenchanting it, but I couldn't be bothered. This is technically an upgrade. No, people should just know that I'm using their mount. I guess I have to get on my own. It's so weird to see Ouroboros so empty, like out here. That's so strange. Let's see, 236 I don't need, 229 don't need, 262, I'll hold on to that just in case, and then 249 I don't need. So what are we looking for? Possibly a Codex, but honestly, Blood DK is in a spot right now where you don't need a defensive trinket compared to like a lot of the other tanks which require like Scale or Shard or Codex to like survive. My right side is pretty good. I have like Mythic, obviously 291, and then I have some like heroic tier on like my shoulders and pants, but then I'm wearing like a 239 helm, like Raidfinder helm, Raidfinder chest, bracers are Raidfinder. So I have like a few items that I'd be looking for. Now again, I have only one option, so I'm gonna have to be like, I can't be picky. I'm gonna just take what I get. So yeah, we'll see. This is actually crazy. This blows my mind. Can't really do nothing but drink coffee. All right, supposedly 2 minutes. Let me know in the comments if you drink coffee or not. I drink like 2 cups a day. I'm like staring at this clock. How many Destrolocks are in here? Probably all of them, right? It's like all everyone plays anymore, I feel like. Blood DKs and Destrolocks. Ooh, these people got the good stuff. They're coming around to the edge. It's happening! It's happening! People are so weird, man. See, normally I'm at work. Like, normally I'm at work on Tuesdays, so I'm, like, not here, and I get home from work, I make dinner, and then I log in and I check my vault. So being on, like, as Realm resets, I haven't done this since, like, I was in college, back in Legion. Can I open this thing? All right. We're hoping. We're praying for one decent item. Oh. Nice. Okay, that's perfect. Haste first, super solid. Van Braces of the Depraved Ward. This is like BIS, I think. If you're a plate tank looking for Haste Verse, aka if you're a Prop Paladin, Blood DK, or Prop Warrior, these are probably your best bet from keys. There's some other like Verse Mastery ones that are always going to be okay, but these are probably the best ones. So actually, it's crazy that I do one key and I get... This happened last week too. I'm happy with this. The best part is I don't have to transmog it. I'm just going to throw these on. Strength is gloves, right? I don't have to worry about enchanting these either. Oh, I don't even have strength on my gloves. I gotta enchant my gear. I don't have any enchants on now that wow, I'm bad. Alright, cool. That's it. That was a long wait for bracers. One day I will start pushing this character's IO, and one day you guys will see me talk about this, but then I know as soon as I make a video about Blood DK, I'm going to get shit on for playing a meta spec. We'll leave that for later. Alright, we're gonna move on to the DH. The DH I got... So, not 3 keys, 3 slots. I got all 8 keys done. I did more than that. I think I ended up doing like 12 on my DH last week, which is a lot. Where did everyone go? Oh, they're loading in. Just double checking because I do play Havoc sometimes. Okay, what are we looking for? I like to play this game. It makes it more interesting. It makes me sadder actually when I open the vault. A scale would be awesome. Or a Codex, like running a DPS trinket at an old school scale, not great. Bracers would be cool. A better chest would be great, or shoulders. The cloak's also really bad. It's haste mastery. Or pretty much anything like mythic. I'm 270, so there's like a lot of room for an improvement. But there's like a handful of BIS items that I have. Worst comes to worst, I can take a socket, throw it on the neck that I got last week. Yeah, so I have some 278 pieces. Obviously, I don't need weapons anymore. If you watched this last week, my weapons are cracked. But we are going to open this up and see. All right. I got my BIS trinket. Let's go. No, that's trash. Crit Mastery Axe, Haste Mastery Pants. This is the worst vault I've ever seen. Do I take this unironically? Like, I take damage all the time. I'm tanking. I'm a tank. And then I can then heal myself. 9 times 2k. It's like 18k if it doesn't crit. Can it crit? It only has a 20-second cooldown. What's the rate that the spawns happen for the slimes? Okay, I can't be mad. That's funny. That's a funny vault. We're gonna take these tokens. Tokens are great for several reasons. I'm so glad Blizzard added this. They need to explore this option more when it comes to like targeting gear. Like, let's just say I had 10 of these tokens. I can then come to like this dude who would exchange it for, I don't know, a scale, like just a scale at whatever 260 whatever item level, or maybe a max item level, whatever, right? Like, they can determine those values later or at some point. But I think being able to target an item that you want would be really cool. Let's just say I don't raid and I wanted, I don't know, a specific the weapon cache from Artificer. I'd be able to like save up for 2 weeks and then just buy that item without having to raid. I think that would be a very cool system. I know some people would be like, well, that's kind of not fair. Well, but if you raid, or if you have the time to raid, or if you raid on a raid team that's actually able to kill that content, because it is locked behind Mythic essentially, which is difficult because you need 20 players, you have to be smart enough to be able to kill that boss, or good enough as a team to be able to kill that boss, and then also acquire the loot. But if you're killing that boss every week, having players who have to wait 2 or 3 weeks by saving up a currency by not taking loot to get that, I think that would be kind of a fair trade-off. Rant over. We are able to get gold if we need some consumables. We could get flux if we needed to make different Legos or needed to turn like items into tier. So for example, I only have 600 flux, right? And I only have a 246 chest, but I have a 262 chest in my bags. So what I can do with this character is I can take my Valor that I have. I can upgrade this chest to 272 now. I can get some flux, and I can then turn this item into like a heroic piece of tier, essentially, which is a 30-ish item up, 25 item level upgrade, roughly, which might be better than just the socket. So that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. A chest costs 1,500, I think, to upgrade. So we're going to need at least 2 of these. And then what I can do is I can hold on to these for another week, or for like next week. Let's just say I get a shit vault again, and then I have even more, and then I can get a socket. I can get more flux if I needed to. So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. So we're going to actually come here. I also have these crit verse bracers that I've like been tempted to upgrade. But anyways, we're going to throw this chest in. We're going to sink 1,400 Valor into it to get it up to 272. All the way up. And you know what? Just for the hell of it, I'm going to probably just upgrade these as well. I'm going to regret this when I get like a scale to drop this week on this character. But I think these bracers, I know I lose a little bit of haste, but I lose a lot of haste actually. Worth. Is it worth? I'm already at 32. I feel like losing 2% haste for 1% verse plus crit isn't like the worst thing in the world. Wouldn't know. I know nothing about Demon Hunter. I'm not good at this class. You can see all these people who are now going to the Creation Catalyst. That's so cool. I love the Creation Catalyst. It's super nice that like I don't have to raid. So if I'm thinking back to like Legion, right? Or even BFA. It was so difficult. I think actually Legion's a better comparison because there was tier back then. But I guess Azerite, you know, it goes hand in hand. It was so difficult to play alts at a like quote unquote competitive level, like a level that I would want to play at personally. I like pushing high end content, like, you know, high keys. It's so much more difficult to push when you're locked behind having to either do raid finder, which means you have less gear, like a lower item level, or you have to find a raiding guild to then raid with, you know, 2, 3, 4 nights a week, and then killing the boss you need to kill. And then on top of that, like the progression time it takes to get there, and then if the RNG, if the loot's gonna drop, and then back in the day there was master loot, so if you had to like get on good graces with the GM, that's why I always like to raid leader GM my guild, because I get control over that. Here we go. Chest 1500. We are going to... I have 4 more upgrades I can do before it needs to recharge. We're going to take that. Okay, cool. So we're going to come here. We're going to equip this and this. All right, so rant's over. I went up 3 item levels. That's not bad. All right, done. We're good. We're looking good again. One thing I still need to do is I need to fix that DHUI. It's so ugly. All right, now we have the monk. The monk, I'm not gonna lie, I've been rejecting a little bit. I love playing my monk, but I really didn't touch it at all last week. We are going to open this up. We're double checking its Brewmaster. Actually, before I do that, scale would be nice. A better weapon would be nice. And then, like, I have just a bunch of heroic, like, tier items. I still have normal gloves. There's just, like, it's always my right side that's jacked. Gloves, or basically anything on the left-hand side, or a scale. We'll see. This is the slot we're looking for. Those are actually super solid. Unfortunately, I still have shoulders already. 239 helm. Let's go. Ritual Commander's Ring. Really good. If you guys remember last week, I took a haste verse ring, and then a lot of you told me that my crit's still too low. So we're probably going to go with the ring. A 278. This is probably be... Let me double check. I know I did this last week. So once again, we're going to come here. We're going to click on Brewmaster. We're going to go down to rings. I did this last week, but you can see Ritual Commander Ring is in like almost, not every slot, but it's in a good amount. Some people are running like a Unity Ring, which I'm also running. So I'd be running a combination like this, which is being ran at a level 29. 6% of the Brewmaster player base is running this combination. Obviously, there's a bunch running these for players who decided to put Unity on something else. Obviously, Unity is something you have to kind of like figure out what you want to do with it. Some people like to put it on a main stat piece to get obviously more main stat, because 291 is obviously higher. What's nice about the ring though, Unity Ring, or Legendary Ring in general, is that it allows you to be a little bit more flexible with your secondary stats. So there's kind of like that trade-off. So we're going to actually come back here. There's no doubt in my mind that we're going to take the ring, and we're going to call that a day with the monk. All right, Paladin. I said this last week, and I know some of you made comments about like how mastery is like not that great of a stat, or like playing with paladins who've had higher mastery compared to verse is like bad. So I wanted to clear that up, honestly. Mastery for keys is great because like you typically get hit for a lot smaller amounts, but in rapid succession in keys. You also have casts, right? And casts in conjunction with your Holy Shield talent, allowing you to block spells. The concentration effect of having increased block, also having a DR on top of that inside your consecration, plus attack power, actually kind of scales at the same rate verse does in keys. So verse and mastery are both fine. So just want to kind of clear that up. Raid tank should definitely go for verse, like no doubt in my mind, because you're gonna get hit one big time. There's a chance you won't block it. Even if you do, block only takes off a percentage of the hit. So you're still going to get slapped, and then like mastery, it just it's like it's more for mythic plus. So there's a few items that I could take. Like I have a lot of 272s and a 278s, so I'm kind of in a spot where the chance of me getting an upgrade would be kind of small. Codex of the first, or the Codex of those, I always fuck this name up. What is it called? Codex of the first technique. God, I'm just like stupid. I was calling it like Codex of the first one last week. You dumb man. You dumb idiot. I'm in holy spec. Let's not have that. All right, so we're gonna just roll for prot. We're hoping for scale, or honestly just like any kind of. I'm not looking forward to this vault. It's never gonna be good. Haste first chest actually is not horrible. One sec actually. So I have 5 set. I only have 252 pants though, so the pants would be weird. I can take the chest and obviously convert it, but crit haste isn't great. What are pants? They're crit mastery though. High crit mastery. So I don't think I want pants. So I think I go chest and I convert. Still have 2 tokens. I can't really socket anything that's like that great, right? I would socket maybe ring here, but it's not 278, so I wouldn't really want to. Most of this is probably just from gear. Yeah, this is all 262 stuff. Don't ask me how I got a Poxstorm. Let's just say I have friends in high places. All right, chest it is. I'm not going to complain about that. Always keep in mind when you're picking gear, though, is if you have enough Cosmic Flux to actually upgrade the item. I do, in this case, so we're chilling. Where did it go? Uh-oh. Oh, there you are. Okay. I gotta, like, figure out my gear. Look at all these files. I'm loaded. I'm a rich man. Woman. Man? I don't know. Whatever I identify as in game, that's what I am. We are off to the Creation Catalyst. So we can, like, kind of peep. This will be, like, a 1 animal upgrade. I'm just gonna hold on. I'm gonna collect files this season. See how many I end up with. Let's throw this chest in. We'll transform it. These charges are accumulating so fast. I'm glad they made the change, but it's also kind of like it takes the magic away, I think, from the Creation Catalyst a little bit. Because right now it's kind of like, whatever, I can use it again in a few days. Oh, and if I don't use it, I'm just gonna, like, accumulate the charges. Like, I'm not complaining, it's just like, I don't know, it took the magic away a little bit. We'll throw this on. We're gonna save this as prot. Should I go back to my old mog? I'll do it. Fuck it. Yeah, look at this. Big fan of this mug. This might come off a little bit as favoritism, but I'm gonna, like, enchant my gear because I know I'll forget. I know my DK looted bracers or whatever, and I don't have anything enchanted. So we are going to what do we need? We need stats, right? I could go over to my Druid to do this, but we're gonna just do it here. So we're gonna throw this on. That's it. I'll clean up these bags later. And I got a 23 Sanguine. I'm going to actually shoot myself in the foot. All right, Druid. Let's see. We're gonna go Guardian. There, like I said last week, if you watched it, the only things I really need is going to be these better moccasins, better slippers, or a scale, or like I got a codex last week. I'm not wearing it right now. I was running it. It was nice. Just shard also has its benefits, so I switch them between different keys. I'm sure some of you will ask me to talk about what keys I do that in. I'll probably have to do that in a different video because it would take too long to go through how I justify that. But that's pretty much it. Part of me wants to roll balance. An IQD would be cool, like a nice fat 278 IQD for, like, the memes would be awesome. But part of me wants to go. Yeah, there's, like, nothing. I should just stop filling up my vault, to be honest. Criver's cloak, kind of trash. Gloves, also trash. Cloak, trash. I hate this game. I might take the cloak unironically for Feral Druid, but I already have one in my bags. This is when vaults get kind of, like, boring, or they get weird, and I have to, like, think about it for a long time. I also have a Poxstorm on my Druid. Something I've been doing on the side is I've been working on Feral. I love Feral Druid. I've been playing it for a long time. I actually played it in Kata. Like, Feral was, like, one of my first mains next to Arms Warrior, unironically. So I've been trying to pick it up again. So I know they want crit mastery, which is really beneficial for them. And so taking this cloak actually wouldn't be, like, the worst thing ever. What I would swap it for if I was running Legacy of the Sleeper, which is on shoes. So I have a 278 cloak that I can swap, but it's bad for Feral and it's not great for Boomkin, where I think the crit mastery would be better for both those two DPS specs, which again, I don't play often. Or we can check out what gear we need to. So socketed, other rings are socketed, belt socketed. So I don't need sockets. So the last option that I could do is I can take coins for flux. I have 3k flux currently. I can use this for additional Legos. I can use it for flux to buy the chests to get Soul Ash and Soul Cinders, which then I don't have to farm, so I can finally start working on my Shaman, which I've been trying to do for a long time now. Part of me wants to go Cloak, though, because it's really good. It's good for Feral. I'm taking Cloak for Feral Druids. Accept. Cool. Part of me's regretting this decision. It's okay. It's okay. We'll cry later. We'll cry later. All right. Last but not least, we have our warrior. Okay. So this is the character I'm using in the 0 to Hero challenge. This is going to be a slight spoiler. I was able to get a +5 done. I know. How I got that +5 done, you'll never guess. If you're interested, go check out my last video, 0 to Hero challenge. Hit that sub button, and yeah, leave a comment like, "Yo, Shaw's got good feet." Wait, actually don't. What I ended up doing last week, and you'll see it in the next episode, which should come out this week at some point. I gotta edit it. It'll take time. I have like raid tonight, and I have obviously like real life stuff to do. But I was able to get all three wings of Raid Finder done. And when I say all three wings, like there's no way I'm plugging the Jailer. There's nothing off of it that I'm gonna need realistically. Like I could try to get a Gavel, but honestly, like getting a higher level weapon in Mythic Plus will be way better than a Raid Finder Gavel, I think. Don't quote me on that. And I really wanted to get Tier, and I wanted to get what else did I want to get? Oh, I wanted to fill up the vault. Duh. So we are going to see a 4-slot vault. So all of the raid items for Raid Finder item level, and then we got a 5 key done, which I think is 258 if I'm not mistaken. This is also a little bit of a spoiler. I am now 234 item level. I got a Raid Finder glove and I got Raid Finder pants. The rest, unless you pause the video right there, I'm going to talk about everything else in the actual video. So I'm not going to talk about what I want. Pretty much anything's going to be an upgrade. But yeah, we'll see. I'm curious. Ooh. Okay. I'm going to pick... Well, if you're curious in what I picked, you'll just have to wait to find out. I think what I chose will surprise you. All right, let's talk about some of the different, some just like general dungeon tips this week. So like I said, it's Bolstering Explosive. So this week is a little more focused on how you pull the dungeon because of how bolstering is going to affect different trash mobs. Obviously, some trash mobs get real scary. It is a Tyrannical week, so you don't have to be that scared of bolstering. It just makes the pull take a little longer when someone gets 3 stacks of bolstering because now they have more health. But as long as you cleave everything down fairly evenly, it's normally not that big of a deal. Tanks, make sure you're saving your CDs, or at least a CD, towards the end of a pull in certain areas. Now, it's like a general rule. It's not applicable to every situation. Sometimes there's just mobs that only do physical damage, so then the bolstering really doesn't affect you because you can typically mitigate it. It's going to be for like pulls, like let's just say there's a real scary caster doing like Wicked Bolt, for example. So Halls of Atonement, let's just say there's like a 4-stack or 5-stack bolstered Wicked Bolt. Probably gonna hurt you. You might need some form of mitigation. You can also kick it. So like that's why I say it's not applicable to every situation, because if you're an Ardenweld and things are just meleeing you, more often than not you don't really need to use a major when things are bolstered. The weird thing about bolstering is like, yes, things get stronger when things die, but things are also dead, so there's less things hitting you. So it really just like the damage you take per second just stays consistent throughout a pull instead of going up and then dropping off, which is, I think, a big misconception, is that all of a sudden like you take way more damage. It's like, well, you're taking the same damage just for a longer period of time. So let's jump into MDT and just talk about some dungeons. I don't know if I should use like a regular. All right, these don't bolster if I'm not no, these do bolster. Be very careful in pulling all the slimes. Wait, now I'm blanking out. Do they bolster? I think they do, because they burst, so they bolster. I also typically will pull these slimes onto the big guy. This week, like, don't do that. Do these guys by themselves if you're pulling them. Plaguefall's pretty easy though, because you're never really doing anything that big. Yeah, Plaguefall is, I think, decent. Miss is also another key where it shouldn't affect you that much. The trees obviously don't die. The bow breakers you pulled by themselves, these pulls are typically pretty small in here. Be careful on pulling through the wall this week though, because let's just say like you have a hunter in your group and you pull the pack to the right when you do these two right after you killed Ingra. These guys will probably die. They're probably going to be at like, I mean, they might die well before these guys get in, but let's just say in my average key, like a 20, 22, 24, these dudes will probably be 30% health when these guys come in. These guys will die now. All of these guys are going to be like big, powerful. Same thing with any other point in the maze. If you're pulling through the wall, just be careful. These little guys do not bolster, these little larvas. So doing bigger pulls at the end is totally fine. Miss is probably going to be one of the easier keys this week. Halls, of course, per usual, be careful on shards. Pull the groundskeepers in once these guys are at like 40% health. So let's just set, so this is set to a 25. In a 25, this guy has 2.33 mil. and these guys have 500k, which means that you can probably pull these dudes in when this guy's at 25% health, and they should all die at the same time. So it's okay to pull them in, just pull them in later. So that's when like chaining is okay in bolstering. A lot of times people are like, oh, you can't chain in bolstering. Well, depends on the circumstance, right? Which is always a huge factor. Everything else in here is pretty okay. It depends how big you pull. Gargans, bolstered Gargans, extremely scary with the Jaws of Stone. So tanks need to be careful with like big pulls here. Most high groups avoid as many Gargans as possible. It's always good practice. I know it's a Tyrannical week, but still a bolstered Gargan is going to shred your tank. So just be wary of that. Everything else in here is pretty okay. Side note, if you missed my woe skip, grabbing this woe here, you can actually grab this Loyal Stoneborn if you stand like way up here in the corner. You can actually get this guy for Echelon. That's a really good tip this week, I think, because it gives you the DR, it gives you the extra damage from the Stone Breath. You woe skip here, you grab it, you go up to boss, you trigger it, you have like 40 seconds or whatever, 30 seconds of the Stoneborn for the first ad set, which is the scariest ad set because is active. Or whatever other relic you decide to kill. Most groups kill though. Let's talk, I'm trying to like think any specifics. Sanguine, this is old route. I don't have a new route created actually because I haven't touched Sanguine in a while. Because fuck this place. The smaller ticks that fly in, these little famish guys, they don't bolster, which is nice. These little guys, if you pull them, don't bolster either. And then some of these, like these acolytes, don't bolster either. These non-elite mobs. So these are all good mobs to pull. Outside of that, you don't really pull big in here. So there's nothing really to worry about. Something though that I think some people are still not clear of, but I'll just say it again here because it's always good. Cadets bolster. They won't bolster this boss though, which is nice, but cadets do bolster other mobs, so you just want to be careful on pulling cadets. A lot of them, there's no cadets in the first pull, there's then 6, and then it's 3, and then there's no cadets for the rest of the run until you get to the very end. There's actually skirmishers, so you're pretty much fine here. Yeah, outside of that, I don't think it's that scary. I don't think these Gargans, though, bolster, because they're not elites. So I think these guys won't bolster these 4 mobs when you pull them back. I think that's it. Spires, really easy for the most part. The only thing you need to be careful of is, like, my group likes to pull all of this stuff at the same time. Normally, it's the Goliath that's up. When the Goliath has 6 stacks of bolstering, it can hit your tank pretty hard, but as long as you're kicking the Rebellious Fist, you're good. The rest of the dungeon, there aren't many pulls that are going to be large. Unless you're doing this double pull under the Goliath will also be massive when you get through this. Again, just make sure you're kicking Rebellious Fist. You need 2, they're 12 seconds apart, the Rebellious Fist, so you need a Shaman or you need 2 melee kicks. Or I guess 2 kicks in general. It doesn't matter if they're melee or not. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Spires is easy. Necrotic Wake, nothing insane. Blight bags don't bolster, they're non-elites. So it would just be these dudes here. I don't even know if, no, soldiers bolster, but then there's so this first pull shouldn't be that bad if you cleave everything down. It's mostly the vanguards. Just make sure you have a soothe ready for it. What else is like really bad in here? These mini boss mobs like Rot Spew and Gore Grind, when their little leftovers die, they get a little scary for your tank. If you can, try to focus the big guys down a little bit more, because then you have less. You can hopefully finish off this big guy before your tank perishes, but it's only 18 seconds. I think your tank can roll cooldowns for 18 seconds. I think. I can't, so hopefully your tanks are better than me. Theater, nothing crazy. I don't think there's a lot of pulls in here that are going to be massive. A lot of people get scared of this room. I don't pull. I think I was just like clicking on stuff in this route. This pull, a lot of people get scared of. None of these things bolster. Like none of these little refuse, disgusting refuse, actually bolster anything in here. So the only thing you have to worry about are the sludge spewers and the disease horrors, or disease horror, and then the butcher. But if you cleave everything down nice and even, normally it's chill. Like you can just do this pull like normal. It's not a big deal. Same with this pull. Like these guys pop out of the wall, right? I don't pull. Yeah, never mind. These guys pop out of the wall. None of these guys bolster. It's only the Sludge Spewer and the Gas Bag. Obviously, if you do this large pull, which I don't advise doing because this is a random route that I just clicked on stuff to make sure I had accurate percent, these will bolster. So this pull would get extremely scary. Something that a lot of groups are doing now, though, or not, I should say a lot, but it is totally fine to pull stuff into bosses. Bolstering does no longer affects bosses, which is super, super nice. So here is a good spot for it. Back in halls on the first boss, great spot for it. Pull stuff on the boss, it's fine. It won't bolster the boss. That's it for Theater. And then, of course, you have Streets of Wonder. This is going to be a very tame dungeon this week because most of your pulls in here are really small. Like, almost all of them. The only things that I can think, like, I sometimes will, like, at the end, I like to pull these kind of, these pulls towards the end because Guardian Druid's OP, but some other tanks can't handle it. Like, this pull, like, you have the Enforcer. These guys can get pretty big. So these would be the type of pulls I'd be careful on when you have, like, a larger mini-boss mob inside. Like, these guys have half the amount of health as the Enforcer. So this is a pull I would be careful on. But outside of that, this is a very tame dungeon. And then last but not least, we have Gambit. And what's crazy about Gambit is that none of these tiny Murlocs bolster. So if you think about it, like, even if you did a pull like this, just like massive, chunky, I mean, this is not large at all. But like, let's just say, even if you did this, most of these mobs will die pretty evenly. This is a 10 though. We're going to set this up to a 25. Like, they have, what, 800k health, 700k health. Like, the difference between them is, like, 100k. So you can do a pull like this. None of these guys, little guys, will bolster. And then these bigger dudes will probably all die at the same time. And even if not, they're running off away. They could be far enough where they won't even get bolstered. Bolstering only has, like, a 30 or 40 yard range. So you can actually outrange bolstering. And even if they do get bolstered, they're running away or they're running back or they're, like, doing whatever, you know? These pulls you want to be a little wary of. You don't want to go massive. Like, I know this is a pull I've seen, like something like this. Like, this is crazy. But some tanks can pull this off, especially on Tyrannical weeks. Fortified weeks, you don't pull these guys. But just want to be a little careful because some of them cast bolts. Some of them leap on your allies, on your group. If that happens, they will probably die. But for the most part, this isn't going to be too bad of a dungeon. And then obviously, I think the rest of the dungeon's fine. Like, this pull might be scary if you do this. This is a common pull. Some of these, the haymakers towards the end might be scary. If you're double pulling anything back here, probably also a little scary. Anything I would say more than like 6 targets, it could get scary towards the end of a pull. But again, like I mentioned earlier, the damage you take, it doesn't drop off. It just stays, you know, it plateaus for a little bit longer because how bolstering works. One mob dies, yes, that mob's removed, but now all the other mobs are doing 18% increased damage. And then you have to multiply that among how many mobs are actually active in the pool and what those profiles are looking like. I could rant on this for like 30 minutes, but I'm not because I don't think you guys care enough. Maybe you do. But, and then the other side, did I do the other side? No, I started in the middle, went up, and then I went down and I stopped. I didn't do the other side. There's a few mobs in here. A few pulls, like this pull, a lot of people do this. This is bad. These warlords can get super fucking beefy on bolstering weeks because all of these bolster. So I'd be careful on this. This pull here, like, again, the Death Speaker has a lot more health than the other mobs, so you want to make sure you're prioritizing the Death Speaker. Again, its casts are kickable, frontal's dodgeable, so it's not like a huge deal, but again, towards the end of the pull, it can get a little scary. Ardenweld, you shouldn't have to pull any less than you already do because most of the damage in here is physical. The only thing you want to be careful of are these, like, Elder Horns, the, like, drop damage or the damage from the swirls that they spawn. That rain will hit your friends if they're standing in it, so that's the only thing I'd be careful of. What I would do in here is, like, I would probably do this pull. I mean, this is my standard DOS routing, so I don't think I would actually change anything. So you would do this pull and then this pull. And then I would do Blade Beaks plus Patrol plus these onto Urn. Maybe if you're feeling super spicy, you can pull in the Staghorns. But again, this Staghorn, if it gets big and bolstered, and then your friends stand in a swirl, they'll probably die. But again, most of the stuff dies pretty evenly in here. So you can leave these out till later, and then I would do this. This is normally for CDR. Some groups like to pull this extra. It depends on what you're skipping. And then try to have... I like to pull the Matriarch, to be honest, just because it's there. It's a nice beefy target. I typically play with classes that have good funnel, like Frost Mage and like Demo Warlock, for example. So this is always like, I always end up doing this pull, and then I would pull this, this, and this, and then once again, be careful of this Riven Stag. This would be my DOS routing, and at the very end, you would come back and you would grab this stuff. So yeah, that is bolstering in a nutshell. Those are the things I would keep out. I would look out for when you're like thinking about route. Is most of your pulls aren't going to change, but the idea of bolstering is to make the tank take consistent damage throughout the whole pull instead of having like this drop off as things die. Let me know if there's any tips that I missed down below. I'm sure Dratnos probably posted a video by now already. He has the stuff always pre-recorded, so I know I don't like to overlap with him. His information is always good. Well, for the most part. For the most part, his information's always like great for tanks and just Mythic Plus players in general. So let me know if I missed anything. Hope you guys enjoyed. I had fun doing this last week, so that's why I'm doing it again. If you're interested in seeing me push 0 to hero on a not S tier tank, feel free to subscribe and check out my first video. Next video is coming out. I'm hoping for Thursday, like fingers crossed Thursday, but again, we'll see. Thursday or Friday. All right, hope you guys are staying happy, healthy, and I will catch you all in the next one. Take care.